DJ, I know you're already thinking a step ahead at a time. I'm gonna go to, what did you think, or what were you thinking, not what were you thinking in terms of a question mark, but what was on your mind? You cut it to 3 points at 75-72, and then, your next possession, Dominic goes up for a freebie, and the ball comes out of his hand, sails over the basket. And of course, they come down and drain a three, which it makes it tougher, and the next two possessions are also turnover. Well, one's a turnover, it's Vahovic, and then Tim gets a shot block, and all of a sudden you're back down, you're back down 8 within nothing flat when you had a chance to cut it to 1 or 2. I mean, when Dominic, he said the ball went out of his hand, he wasn't anticipating getting hit on the player, I think the ball just got out of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I know you're probably thinking ahead to the defensive end, but that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it's not like he was trying to miss it.
Right.
He made a mistake, but we should have never been in that situation. I feel for him because Dom wants to make that play.
Yeah, he played a good game.
But unfortunately, we put ourselves in a hole that was just too big for even that play to help us.
Could you tell if they were flat?
Could tell all week.
Hmm?
Could tell all week.
Could you?
Yep.
Just uninspired maybe, or just kind of chilling a little bit, cruise control, kind of coming off the big win or whatever?
I mean, getting a road split, I would hope that they would have the expectations of themselves, the pride in themselves to do that. It was a bad week. It was a bad week of practice, and they earned what they got. I tried to tell them that Monday. Tried to tell them that Tuesday, when they were throwing the ball over the gym. Tuesday was their deal. Monday they didn't come mentally ready to play, and be sharp in practice. And Monday's practice was a day where I tried to not give them a break, but tried to be smart and just work on a couple of things that I thought we needed to work on. We weren't in there long. Tuesday it was a regular practice for this time of year, meaning we try not to go much over an hour and a half, but compete. And they threw the ball over the gym, and they played exactly the way they practiced. And every day this week, the phrase "you're earning your outcome," basically, in a nice way, is what I said. And that's really frustrating when you have 4 seniors. You shouldn't have to use that phrase. Those guys should be really hungry to see what's ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
5 home games in the last 7, chance to move up the standings. As a coach, you shouldn't have to do a whole lot at this time of year with 4 seniors in terms of motivation. Yeah, it's you still game plan and all that, but the sharpness of your team, the hunger, with March right around the corner. If you have to coach that, you're going to be in trouble, and obviously we were today.
Talk about maybe what you feared, and maybe what happened. You're taking on a team that is not a bad team. They've been in games, but they come in here in last place in the conference. Playing at your place, like you said, there's a lot in front of your guys. 5 of 7 at home, yada yada yada, and they just don't play. I can say it, like they really give a damn for the first 17 minutes of the game.
I wish you would tell them that.
Yeah.
Because they think it's me.
Run out the door.
They think that's me. They think that me talking about their body language. And I told them, I said, you guys had great support. The community came out and supported you. And the average person sitting in that stands, I don't thinks that game was very important to you guys. And obviously we could see it as a staff. We saw it all week, and I can't answer that. They have to answer that. I don't know why that is. If I did, obviously we wouldn't be in this situation, and I'd be able to help a lot of other coaches out, and I'd make a lot more money if I had that answer.
Does this team lack the attitude that it needs? The punch in the face and we'll shake your hand later type. The killer instinct, like you're not going to come in here.
Well, obviously, I don't think there's any question. I mean, we didn't show it tonight.
Yeah.
And we've shown it in times. We've shown it in spurts. But again, when, if, again, and you hear everybody say it. You know, you've heard Bill Self say it, you've heard, if you have to coach effort, if you have to coach either mental or physical effort right now, if you have to beg that from them, you're not gonna win very many games. And, you know, that this time of year should be coming from a group of seniors. And I talked to those guys specifically yesterday as a group. And obviously they didn't respond.
Talk a little bit about how the littlest guy on the floor just dissected your defense. Dyson, I mean, he just,
Yep.
the direct shot lanes at the basket, I mean,
He's a good player.
he's a good player, and he, as good as he is, I think you guys made him look even better.
There's no doubt. You know, we talked about how to defend him.
And how did you talk about defending? What was the plan?
He's extremely quick. You can't go on his jabs, on his jab fakes and his shot fakes. You got to stay in your stance. You have to square him up. And we consistently opened our stance, meaning we weren't squared to his shoulders. We were constantly this way or this way. We reacted to every jab and shot fake he did, which makes your stance open. And when he has an open stance to go against, he's so quick his first step, you're not catching up with him.
He did the first step.
Yeah. And he changes directions as good as anybody in this league in a long time, meaning he can go from going this way to this way. That's why, even though he's 5'9", taller guys don't bother him, because he changes his planes as good as anybody I've seen. I mean, he raises up on a dime and can elevate and get his shot off. And we got him going early by not being dialed in. And when guys who are riding that fence between being confident and not confident, they get an easy one early, that's what can happen.
I know you got to close the door and figure it out with it. It's behind you, but what do you do now to, I mean, you know, I put myself in your shoes even as a parent. You tell your kid, okay, you screwed up, but we've got to do something different between now and Saturday. I mean, you can tell 20-year-old kids that, but do you sit and wonder how they respond now after just getting embarrassed in a way?
It's going to tell us a lot about this group. Because you're right, there's not a whole lot, there's not a whole lot I can do with these guys X and O wise. It's a decision that they have to make. And I thought it was a lesson that we learned last time maybe we were in the state of Montana, to be honest with you. And you know, that's what's frustrating, is to put in the hours that these guys put in is ridiculous. And
Have more to show for it?
yeah, to let somebody come in and take it from you, that's what disturbs me. You know, there's a lot of talk going on. Not enough action.
Your team at this point kind of looks like the wounded animal laying out there waiting for somebody to come along and take their next swipe at them.
Yeah.
You know, that's when, like you say, time will tell by Saturday whether they get it and fight back with what they have left, because realistically, the team that's coming in here in general, on the whole, is a hell of a lot better than the team you just played.
Yeah, no doubt. There's no doubt. And I can't answer that for you. I wish they were all in here and could answer that. Then I would learn a lot. Because I'm looking at a lot of some blank faces, and that's frustrating. Again, I would rather have guys flying around, making mistakes, kicking it out of bounds, but there's no lack of passion and hunger towards a common goal. And, you know, and that's probably, you know, the average person is probably going, God, they played really hard. They did play hard. They played hard. But what our problem is we're not playing smart. And that's the lack. That's been the lesson with this group almost all year, is you have to be dialed in mentally. You have to execute a game plan. Playing hard without playing smart It doesn't make any sense, okay? The CEO and the ditch digger both work really hard.
Mhm.
One of them's working a lot smarter than the other one.
Mhm.
You know, and so that's inefficient. And that's where, as juniors and seniors, you have to rely on those guys to understand that in the heat of the battle, I only have so many timeouts. They have possession by possession, dead ball by dead ball to get each other dialed in, and we don't have that right now. Because for those of you who've been around athletics, it is way more meaningful to have that come from within the group than to come from the sideline. Whether it's in practice, game, individual workout, weight room, it does not matter. If that message is coming from the dudes in the shorts versus the guys in the ties, it hits home a lot quicker, and you stem off what happened tonight before it gets to 19. We didn't have that.